Hello.
Hello, we're here. We're
We
here.
made
Okay,
it. How
we
you
made
doing?
it. Yeah, good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I've never done a live on Instagram before, so I'm just like, I had to Google it because I was looking to see how to, set it up so that we can both do this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, swipe across and then start the live and invite someone, no worries. But then this is a business account, so all the settings are completely different. Anyway, we found
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, we made it. I was like, I am such a grandma. I have no idea what I'm doing. Hey, Lena.
Okay. I was very
Lynette.
nervous as well.
Hey, everybody.
Who have we got checking in? Cheshire.
Lena. Hey.
Excellent. We sent I think we did a thing on the story before where people could send in questions about
Oh, cool.
anything, but we didn't have any things that I could see on there. So I guess we'll just run with what we've got and we'll just see what everyone else has to ask us as well. Oh, thank you for reading. Yes, I like my jacket as well. I bought another one recently. Went and asked one of my students there, which one do you like out of these, A, B, or C? One of them was like a pastel rainbow sort of thing, and another one was like a black and white sort of zigzag thing going on, and then another one was just like a very vibrant rainbow. And he said I should get the pastel one, so I've got the pastel one coming on the way. It's still like a sequin moment, but yeah. Alrighty, so I've come with some questions prepared. Shall we start from the start of those?
Yeah, let's do it. Luca needs one of those.
Yeah, he does. I agree. Alrighty, so my first question that I've got for you, Becky, is what fruit do you most identify with?
Classic. For some reason, I'm going to be watermelon today.
Okay, sounds good. Does it change? Does it change per day?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say banana, but I'm feeling a bit watermelony today. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
For those who
How
don't
about
know, in our first rehearsal, we asked all of the cast what fruit they most identified with, and I think almost everyone had a completely different fruit, which was really cool. We had, I think one of them said cucumber as well, because cucumber
yeah,
is apparently
right.
a fruit. We got tomato as well. A couple
Mm,
said banana, and I agreed. Banana was my fruit of the day at that time, and I think today I'm still
mangoes.
like banana is the way to go.
Yeah, you still a banana?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Alrighty. So did you get a chance to write down any questions, or will I just keep running with what I've got until we get someone to
You
speak?
keep Yeah, you keep running, and I'll keep asking questions. Actually, talk to me about, because I wasn't in any of those rehearsals. I only popped in here and there. Talk to me about how was the music rehearsals online? Tell me about that.
Yeah, good question. I'm just going to put in here tickets in our bio, and how do I pin that? Is there a way to pin comments? Yes, pin comment. Oh, look at me, I'm so professional. Okay. Yeah, music rehearsals online, they're very different to obviously music rehearsals in person because you can hear everybody sing at the same time. And you can get ensemble parts, like you can split them into harmonies and hear them all at once. Whereas with the rehearsals that we were doing for this one, it was a bit more like, this is how your part sounds. All right, have a go at singing along with it. And all right, let's sing along with it one more time. You got that? Give me a thumbs up. Excellent. All right, moving right along. So I actually had no idea if they were singing the right notes until I got their recording. So once we started collecting their recordings, it was all kind of, yeah, okay, they've got it, they're fine. But I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, I came in with the expectation that like most of these kids know what they're doing. They've done enough shows to kind of get the idea of how to learn these songs. I've made tracks for them so they can hear exactly what it's supposed to sound like. And yeah, they did fine with the tracks in the end anyway. So yeah, it was really
Mm.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more I guess what we were saying, it was more like, guiding them in the right direction and giving that more of like a insight, a different way to do things, and just allowing them to trust themselves as well, because
Yeah.
especially online, like everybody has a chance to view it online, the musical. No one's paying like, a big amount of money to um, see them professionally or amateur or anything, but everyone can view it at some point. So yeah, it
Yeah.
is a bit daunting, and daunting online because you've got everyone on mute in rehearsal, especially for our run throughs. And what I loved about this cast is that how encouraging they were. Even when they were on mute, they were just like, yay, when like
Yeah.
everyone would do their little solos, which was super cute. You're like, yay!
Yeah, they were really supportive of each other, which was really good too.
I
The
know.
the the solo rehearsals were interesting. So I think like solo rehearsals were a bit more like how they would run in person, but obviously it was over Zoom, not face to face. And so I could still I could send them the track, the backing track, so they would play the backing track on their side rather than me having to play it through my computer and they would just sing along to that. Because I've tried that before with my students, and yeah, it just doesn't work the same sort of way where they're listening to the track from my end and trying to sing on top of that. So I have no clue what they're doing then. But having them have the track there with them and asking them to play it on like a second device, not the one that they're videoing with me on, that was really easy to do. So I think, yeah, most of them had no issues with that at all. And yeah, I could actually give them proper feedback and say, oh, try this, let's change how that part sounds, and let's give it a bit more dynamic variation, all that sort of stuff, you know, what I'm supposed to do, my job. So yeah, they really adapted well for that, I think, and there were only, I think I only needed to see about 7 out of the whole cast for those little individual rehearsals, which made it pretty easy for time management, and obviously you were trying to see everybody at the same time. So the way that we were running it, where we had on Tuesday, I think it was, we did all these little sectional rehearsals. So people that had singing solos would come and see me on Zoom in a breakout room, and people that were doing some acting things were meeting with Becky in the main room, and she would take them through their sections like that. So yeah, it was different, but it was interesting to see how that was able to work, where we could see like the individual parts. So I think in terms of like whenever you're doing a musical online where it's just solo stuff the whole way through, Zoom works really well. And I would say like in terms of not having to travel, it's better that way. And yeah, I would definitely do something like that again, especially for a musical that's just completely solo, not so much ensemble stuff. But yeah. If anybody has any questions that's watching us, feel free to pop them in the comments, because we'd love to answer them. We have some that we've already prepared just in case we had none of you asking us anything. So yeah, if you've got something that you want to ask us, feel free to drop it down below and we'll answer those as soon as we see it. But anyway, I'll move on to the next question that I had for you, Becky, which was, a week ago we started. So today's Monday and we started last Monday. We've done the whole thing. It's already done in less than a week.
I know.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would do it again. I think I really loved it, and it gave me something to do, because as everybody in Sydney right now, well, obviously in, like, I guess Australia, there's been certain cases, but especially in Sydney, how we've got the lockdown still going, and hopefully it won't go for any much longer. That pretty much, fingers crossed, pretty much on Saturday afternoon, we all were like, oh, we're going into lockdown at 6 p.m. And so I was like, what am I going to do for 2 weeks? I've lost all of my work because I work at Luna Park, and I also work at the QT Hotel, and I have had all these gigs booked as well. And so everything got cancelled. So that was fun. And so when David literally asked me on Sunday evening, I was like, yes, I will do it. And I jumped in like into the deep end, and then I was like, this is great. It was so much fun, and it was just really nice to work with a bunch of kids that obviously knew what they were doing, but also were just, they responded so well to David and I, and they were keen to learn. They were keen to just show up, and to know their stuff. And yeah, it's been such a pleasure, and such a pleasure to work with kids like that. So it's been really, really good. So yeah. I would do it again. Yes.
I think it was a bit of a saving grace for both of us, because I have no clue. Actually, I do kind of know what I would have been doing otherwise, but this was way more fun, and definitely, I think, more rewarding out of the whole process. We got a couple of questions there that have popped up. How do I get into musicals? A few and production. I'm not sure what that last part is meant to be, but we can answer the first part. So how do I get into musicals? So there's a couple of ways that you can get into musicals. You can audition. So look out for different companies that are announcing that there are musicals. If you're under 18, there's a few production companies that do junior musicals. So I think for like closer to the city, the Sydney city, I'm assuming people that are watching us are from Sydney City. There's SYMT, which is Sydney Youth Musical Theatre, so they usually do 2 shows a year.
North Shore.
North Shore
Yep.
Kids Junior Theatre Company.
Regals.
And Regals down in South Sydney, and my company as well, Fantasia Showstoppers, which is out west. Spot On Productions, which is in the Hills area. So there's quite a few now that are doing specifically junior productions. So you can go out and audition for those. This show that we did online was a bit more by application. So it wasn't so much an audition process. It was put in an expression of interest if you wanted to be in the show, and they would get a reply from Ollie, who was producing, and he would tell them whether they got into the show or not. And then, so that's more like for the community circuit and these online ones, but then there's also the professional shows. And I see you just asked in there about should you get an agent. Agents would definitely be helpful for if you're looking to get into the professional musicals. So they will usually look out for call-outs for auditions, and they'll submit your profile for those sort of things. So yeah, definitely see if you can line yourself up with an agent. There's a few, this isn't an endorsement for any of them, but I just know a couple of them. Tessence, I think, is one of them. T&E Kids is another one. I'm not sure. Do you know any
Dargie's doing some stuff, I think, for kids. Yeah.
So there's a couple around. You
Eddie
can have a
House,
look.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot online. Like there's a lot of things. Even if you just go Sydney Agents or Sydney international agents for film and TV and musicals and stuff like that. There's a bunch of agents that come up, and then whatever kind of resonates with you and your child, and what you think would be best for your child at this point, and then you can talk to them and discuss. Sydney Theatre Reviews. How did you both get into musicals? For me, I've been dancing majority of my life, so I did a lot of, I guess, Stedfords, and I was with some 2 really great dance schools, Mass Performing Arts, which doesn't exist anymore, and then Deborah Johnson, which also doesn't exist. But they both were great. They gave me lots of great opportunities, even in I even got to perform at the torch relays for the Olympics and stuff like that. So that was really cool when I was a kid. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is awesome, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I did. So yeah, and so that was some really fun things, mostly dance. And then it wasn't until after I left, I did obviously all the school musicals. That was fun. And then when I left school, left high school, I started doing all of the Macamess musicals. And my first show that I choreographed was at Macquarie Uni, which was Grease, which was super fun. So made some really lifelong friends there. And then I moved on to, I've done shows with Blue Mountains, so I just came off Jersey Boys. I've done a show with Hornsby, I did We'll Rock You. What else? Oh, I did Mamma Mia with Engadine, and then I'm just about to do their Freaky Friday, which is fun. But yeah, just bits and pieces all over the joint. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't really a path that I was specifically pursuing. It was kind of just fell into my lap sort of thing. So I first played for a production of Barnum, the musical, when I was in Year 12. My school, St Paul's Grammar, was doing musicals every couple of years, and so they did Barnum in 2008, I think it was. And so that was the first musical that I played for. I had seen musicals before that, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. So actually, the first musical I think I remember seeing was Barnum, and it was not that one. It was one 10 years before that, when I was living in Bathurst. So yeah, that was kind of really cool. And then after high school, I kind of went through all of uni and wasn't really doing anything musical theatre-wise there. It was more focused on classical flute playing, which was my main primary instrument that I was working on. So yeah, I was kind of working towards a more orchestral career, I guess. But yeah, that kind of also didn't really happen. So once I finished university, I started getting into musical theatre with Richmond Players, and I was their accompanist for the rehearsals. So I played for 9, the musical, and then The Sound of Music, the musical. with Richmond Players. And with The Sound of Music, I was assistant, actually no, I was assistant MD as well, but yeah, I didn't really do too much. I taught them one song. I taught the cast one song, and then I think for Sound of Music, I also taught the cast one song there. So it was kind of like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm teaching them how to sing a song. That's not really something I've ever tried before. And yeah, so the way it went, by the end of Sound of Music, the director and the music director were kind of at odds a little bit, and so it kind of just got a little bit tense, and it ended up happening that the music director quit. So this was in the middle of our show run, so we'd started performances already, and I think it was about, I was prepared to take one show because there was one show that she wasn't going to be able to do. So I did, like, I was there and able to carry the show. But yeah, about the third show in, she ended up quitting. And so then the director was just like, well, guess what? You're our new music director. So you're just going to run the show for the rest of this performance run. So there I was, music director, never been music director before. And then once that finished, they were kind of like, you should keep doing this. You're really good at it, and we really like you. You're a very personable sort of a person. And yeah, see what you put some shows forward to the company that you want to do. So I did. I put a 5-year plan to Richmond Players that I would do 5 shows with them. I've only done 2 so far, but yeah, they're kind of, yeah, that's not really happening the 5 shows anymore, but we did Beauty and the Beast with them. That was my first show that I music directed with Richmond Players, and then I did Wizard of Oz. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that was my first one. And then Wizard of Oz I did with them as well. And after that, I started, actually, it was after Sound of Music that I really started branching out a little bit more. So I went to, I actually contacted Matt, who is Becky's partner, and Matt was MDing Joseph with Blue Mountains, and so I messaged him and say, hey, I want to try this a little bit more. I haven't really done this sort of thing before, but that's when I really started pursuing musical theatre, and so I got to play Keys 3 on his production of Joseph, and yeah, it was a little while after that I actually got to work with him again, but I kind of built up a few more skills. I got a bit more on hands with the programming and all that sort of stuff at keyboards, and you know, playing for more shows. I ended up going to do Chicago with Ashfield after that, and I was also playing Chicago with Penrith at the same time. So yeah, it kind of just stacked on and stacked on and stacked on after that. Wizard of Oz musical theatre. No, this was just a community production. So it was with Richmond Players. It wasn't the, you know, the one that had, what's the name in it? Oh my gosh. The one that's done everything, all the famous stuff. She's currently doing Frozen. What's the name? The one playing Elsa in Frozen.
Oh, Gemma Rex.
Gemma Rex, that's the one. Yeah, it was not the one with her. I didn't get to do that one. So I haven't actually personally done any of the Capitol or the Lyric Theatre shows before. I'd love to. I'm potentially going to be sitting in for the Phantom of the Opera at the Opera House just to get a look into what's going on in there. So that's very exciting for me. But yeah, kind of since I started doing music directing myself, the whole shows, I kind of branched out from there and did more and more. And yeah, here we are about 50 shows later in the space of about 5 years. So that's how I got into musical theatre. So yeah, there you go.
Question, do you think, I just thought about something, do you think that you've got an advantage because you play multiple instruments as an MD?
I think as an MD, it definitely helps being able to play piano. I think a lot of MDs don't really come on board with those sort of skills, so they will have to hire a rehearsal pianist. But to be honest, when I did Beauty and the Beast, I did it all myself. So I was doing the rehearsal accompanying, and I was also doing the music directing. And I just found that it's a bit harder, I think, because you don't get to listen to what they're singing as much when you're playing and trying to follow the dots. So every show that I've done since then, I've either hired someone else to come in and play piano, even though I've got the skills to do it, it's just much easier for me to be able to listen to a full cast when I'm not having to worry about getting the right notes at the same time. So I did that for when I did Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Blackout. I had a rehearsal accompanist for that one, and also Wizard of Oz. When I did Wizard of Oz, actually, I got to work with Greg Crease as my rehearsal pianist, and people might know Greg Crease from AIM. He was one of the music supervisors and singing teachers at AIM. He was also the music director for Beauty and the Beast, the professional one, with Hugh Jackman, which is, you know, holy crap, who is, oh, sorry, language. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to be able to work with him. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing as a pianist since then and a music director. So I did Alice in Wonderland. What I did with that one, Becky and I did Alice in Wonderland together at the start of last year. But what I did for that is it was all based on tracks. So when they were doing the show, they would have been performing to tracks. So I mostly just used the tracks in the rehearsals for that one as well, and did play the piano just to teach them their notes and all that sort of stuff, and play the notes at the same time. But yeah, I didn't really use the full score so much with that one, and it'll be the same for most junior shows that will use tracks. I think it's just easier to have that there. I am getting an assistant music director on board for Moana, but that's more just to help the kids with the different parts, because obviously with the show like that, there's some songs in there that have got like 8 separate parts. So yeah, having an assistant in there will be helpful so that she can listen as well to different parts of those vocals than what I'm listening to. So, yeah. Do I do albums? No, I don't. Oh, kind of. I've done piano recording albums before, and it's more like Christmas sort of songs that I've done, but I haven't released anything on Spotify or anything like that. I could if I wanted to, but don't really have too much time. So yeah, maybe could be something that I'll do later on. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, anybody in there that's watching us, feel free to drop them in the comments. But I'll move along to the next question that I've got for you there, Becky, which is, what would you have been doing during lockdown if we didn't have this?
Probably just cleaning my granny flat, walking my dog, yeah, exercising, yoga. Yeah. Oh, actually doing my chair yoga assessment. That's what I need to do, because I did my chair yoga teacher training at the beginning of this year, and I still haven't finished my assessment because I had Jersey Boys and other things on, and I just haven't had the time. So this week, whilst talking to our editor, making sure that everything is all going smoothly, I will be doing that. So that would have been probably my main lockdown project.
What's chair yoga?
So it's normal. It's yoga, but it's for people who may have like maybe in a wheelchair, or have like certain like disadvantages and everything like that, and they can do downward dog on the chair, and they can do warrior 1 and warrior 2 on the chair. So my mum actually inspired me to do it. So I went and did the teacher training in February on Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah, no, it was great. It was really, really good. So I want to continue to do more yoga teacher training, but that was the main one. But yeah, that was chair. What would you have been doing, David?
So I would have been doing this project that I was commissioned to do last year, which is a composing project to write more flute music for flute students around Sydney. And it was going to be like this sort of subscription service that I was setting up for them, where I would write like 8 songs every month, and they'd get some new music every month, and it would be in different styles. So I was going to do some work on that, but this show has kind of been taking us through to midnight most nights. So yeah, just haven't really had too much time to be looking into that. So yeah, that's what I would have been doing otherwise. But yeah, other than that, just sitting and watching Drag Race on Stan and watching random YouTube videos. Nothing too exciting otherwise. What is Could You Hug a Cactus about? Okay, that's a very good question. So I've been watching some of the kids and their live videos this weekend. I think a couple of them have kind of dodged it. One of them says, "Oh well, you'll have to just come and watch the show and find out." And what did Ollie and Sabina say? I think they got it. So it's kind of like, it's a musical that's featuring these poems and songs that is written by this author. Actually, I found a really good article. I'm glad you asked this question. So Could You Hug a Cactus is a book that has a set of poems written by Philip Van Wagener. All right, so it's this whole book. So all of the stories that are presented in the musical, it's kind of like these little stories that are interspersed together. And yeah, it's kind of based on these poems that Philip Van Wagener has written. But yeah, there's more to it. There's 24 original poems in there. And from the title poem, Could You Hug a Cactus, throughout the book, adults and children alike are challenged to ask themselves what they're capable of. They are confronted with lovingly imperfect characters, surprising and hilarious twists, and an emotional complexity too often missing in the world of children's literature. So, yeah, all the stories that we're telling in this is kind of, each of the kids will tell a little story based on one of these poems that Philip Van Wagner has written. And yeah, it's no, I don't think like there's an overall plot so much, but it's more like these little bits and pieces that are told in a kind of like review.
Yeah, I think when I was working, I was actually talking to a friend about it this morning, actually, about what it was about. And I just found that as I was working with all of the kids, I was trying to find in every single song a purpose for every single word and every single story that they're saying. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like for the whole, obviously you're going to have to watch it, but pretty much most of the songs and the poems, they all seem a little bit random, but towards the end, it's kind of, it's about like any human of any age that wants to create something, whether it is a musical, whether it is a poem, song, whether it's, doing some sort of project. We always need that outside reassurance. We always need that outside encouragement sometimes that we can't find within. And so that's what I think the beauty of this musical is that finding that that encouragement from not only the outside but also within, and that's what one of the actors really find at the end. And so it's pretty much, it's a really great musical, I think, for kids, because there's a lot of like, I guess, mental health awareness in that as well, because sometimes kids can get really caught up in their own thoughts, and this is like a musical that opens that up and goes, it's all good, like, you can do this, you can like, you can write something, you can create something, and just have the confidence and have the power. And I think that's what we were working on this week, especially with some of their pieces, because with kids, they can get a bit shy. And so I think David and I really tried to create that safe space with this musical to get that message delivered through the musical. So yeah, it's a beautiful little musical. Yes, it's like got little, it's kind of doesn't have like, it's got an underlining message, but it's not really one of those obvious like storytelling messages like something like Frozen or School of Rock or whatever, like, start to finish. It's more just like little messages and something for you to think about, especially in the ending song, because it's very similar to the start song, and you're like, oh, that's so nice. Oh, yes, it's very emotional. But yeah, so that answers your question. Who runs Cactus the musical? Do you mean like who runs? What do you mean by that? Do you mean like
who runs the story? If it was so I think in the show there's like, we've got 14 characters, but all of their names are like actor A, actor B, actor C, actor D, and so on.
N, not N, yeah.
All the way down to N. But I think in terms of who narrates the story, I think actor A probably has the most prominent part in terms of like getting us from one section through to the next section. Yeah. Actor B, I think like in terms of a plot, there is kind of a plot between actor A and B. So B is trying to come up with this idea for his own poem that he wants to write, and he kind of gets there towards the end. So I guess there is a plot. There is a bit of a plot. But actor A and B, they kind of have this story that's going on throughout the show. Who is the owner of Cactus the musical? So there's a company that owns it in America called Press by Press, and so they gave us the licensing to run this show. And Press by Press, you should be able to find it on Google. And so they gave us the licensing to do the show for the time that we wanted. And it's really good. They're a good company because they allow for the virtual adaptations of productions. I think that's something that they focus on quite a lot. So even with this show as well, actually, in the script it references whether you're doing this virtually, you can do it like this, or whether you're doing it on stage, you could do it like this. So there's different ways of performing the different musicals that they've got available. So check it out if you're interested in doing something similar. Yeah.
How did you become a part of this musical? Um, so so it was more you, David. You reached out to Ollie, or Ollie reached out to you, or how did
Yeah,
that
so
happen?
Saturday, not this most recent Saturday, the Saturday before that, Ollie messaged me on Facebook, on Instagram, when I think I posted. So I've got another page for my Fantasia Showstoppers page, and I posted that one of our workshops that we were going to be doing got cancelled because of the lockdown. And I think he possibly saw that and then connected with me after that and said, "Hey, are you interested in coming on board for this virtual musical?" And yeah, it sounded interesting. It gave me something to do for the holiday break, and I was keen to work with Ollie because obviously I knew a bit of his background, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd be interested in seeing what this kid can do. And yeah, then he brought all these other kids on board as well through the application process, and yeah, it ended up being something really really cool that I really loved. And then yeah, on Sunday night during that weekend, we were just planning it all out. And yeah, I messaged Becky to see if she would be interested in coming on board as our director for the production. And yeah, here we are. We started
Super exciting.
rehearsals the next day.
Literally the next day, like
Yeah,
11 a.m. or something. Yeah.
yeah.
What are we going to expect when we first join the Zoom meeting?
So I
Zoom
think
meeting?
I'm not 100% sure if it's a Zoom meeting or it's I think so. If you've bought a ticket, you get an email with the link to I think it's a YouTube link. So you get sent a YouTube link
Mm.
about half an hour before the show goes on, and I'm guessing it's going to be like a live sort of premieres sort of thing. Not 100% sure. Yeah, as far as I know, you get a YouTube link half an hour before the performance, and yeah, you pay for the ticket and you'll get an email from that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do
will
you
we
have
move
any?
along to another question that I've got for you?
Sure. If you have any other questions, just keep posting down.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do you think more people should try virtual musicals?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do. I do. I think obviously some musicals would be very hard to do online, like Mamma Mia or Wicked or something like that. I'd probably steer away from that because the MD would probably not have a very good time. But and also the choreographer. The only people that would have a good time is probably the director. That's probably about it. But
True.
yeah, yeah. But other than that, yeah, I think so. Like especially, you know, two-man show musicals, even like, you know, nine-man show musicals, like that sort of thing. I think that you would definitely thrive off it, especially if like, you know, you're relying on like one part. You got one harmony and all that kind of stuff, and you're, you know, in it together. But I think so. What do you think, David?
Definitely. So I've this week has actually kind of inspired me to write my own little virtual musical. So I've been working on something and I've been looking around on YouTube at different ideas as well. And there's a couple of people on YouTube, and I've known about some of these people for years, but they do like these videos with themselves where they've got like 10 videos of themselves on the screen, and it might just be doing like different characters. So I've seen one girl on there do the whole entire cast of Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and it's really cool how she does it. So I think what she does is she's doing a similar sort of thing where she pre-records the whole song. She has to line it up, obviously, vocally with she'll do all of the pre-recording and try and line it up as perfectly as she can, and then she videos the end product after that. And I'm assuming she'd mime along or sing along, but just rip off the audio of the video and then attach in the audio, which is kind of the same sort of thing as what we're doing. Yeah, so yeah, I've kind of been looking into that sort of thing. There's another group where I think they're called D Capella, which is the official Disney a cappella group, and they do a very similar thing where they've got like different color backgrounds that they all use, but all it is literally just them in the frame, and they'll sing their thing. And yeah, I could totally see that sort of thing being more adaptable to current situations, and even outside of lockdowns, it's definitely something that's I think it would be easy to do,
Mm.
especially if like if you're somewhere that you can bring the kids or bring the cast to you so that you can do the recording with them and just go through that whole process. So it's not like I think that's been one of the tough things with this one is getting them to do it themselves. But like, I think if you're able to do it where you film everything yourself and where you record everything yourself as like the director and the music director, I think that would make it a lot easier. But yeah, I think virtual musicals is definitely something that could have a sort of a rise. There's definitely a place for it in the world now. And based on those small YouTube videos where they might, like the videos I watched was like a Disney medley, and so I went through Little Mermaid and The Lion King and Aladdin and all that sort of stuff in the same video. And yeah, it was all pre-recorded and videoed from there. So it's definitely possible and definitely something that there could be more of.
What's the what's that? I think it was in America that they created a virtual like it's like couch time, but it's also like musical theater people. Forgotten what it's called. Anyway, it's right. It'll come back to me. But like just stuff like that could totally is totally related as well. You know, just having those, I guess, like Friday night couch time sessions with you know, cabaret type like kind of musicals and cabaret nights. You know, I definitely think that is, yeah, it's a way of the future, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I don't think it's so much a way to replace what we currently have. I think both of them have an equal place in the world. And yeah, there's definitely a demand. And I think the good thing about virtual musicals as well is anybody in the world can watch it. You don't have to be a local audience. You could be a whole global audience can come and watch your production virtually. So yeah, there's definitely a need for it, I think, because you know people are going to be needing stuff to watch at home when they can't go out anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's right. I've got friends who are over in San Francisco and also like Brisbane and Melbourne and everything like that, and they're like, yes, I get to come and see one of your shows, because like they haven't been able to because COVID, and yeah, it's far. Yeah, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I actually saw on because I was looking around for ideas with this one that I'm coming up with, and I was looking on YouTube yesterday, and there was Susical the musical has been done virtually before, and so they had like green screen effects going on where the background would be cool, like the twisty, you know, the Dr. Seuss sort of style, and the whole cast would have like their squares similar to how we're doing. So they'd have their squares on the screen, and they would sing through the whole parts, and you could tell. I think actually what they were doing with theirs is they did the video and the audio at the same time. So yeah, when they were recorded all of that at the same time. But yeah, it was really interesting and cool to see. I only watched it part of it because it was quite late. But yeah, it might be something I'll go back and watch the whole thing of another time.
Yeah, that is clever. You can do so much. Yeah, in post, like so much you can, and especially Zoom these days, you can have the little virtual screens and stuff like that. It's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, cool.
If you have any questions for us, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Hi, Claudia. Nice to see you signing in. So yes, drop some questions for us if you have anything you really want to know from us. But otherwise, we're going to keep on keeping on. All right. So, Becky, you have a history of directing in film. Have you found that this has been very different to that, or is it somewhat similar?
It's somewhat similar. I found that I've actually I've really enjoyed all the projects that I've done before, because I've done more, I guess, documentary type projects. So I've done stuff for like Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I've worked on stuff for National Geographic and stuff like that. So I've worked with international directors on certain segments, and I found that for this I'm actually dealing with characters rather than just normal people, and so this has been really fun and I've really enjoyed it. And for me, because I've got a film diploma, I've been able to use that as well, because lately I've just been using my like dance degree and my theatre kind of like theatre type degrees rather than my film. And so it's been really nice because virtually, like, I've been directing this, and then I can also work with the editor, and I can like do all my storyboards and go, this is what I want. And it's just been like really nice to collaborate with the kids and also collaborate with an editor and be able to speak their language, because I do film editing as well. And so Yeah, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. It's something different, and it's something that I would definitely do in the future.
Yeah.
Again, because it's been really fun. Because like for me, as majority of a choreographer for theatre, I am obsessed with character, and I've worked with a lot of directors who are obsessed with character, and they've really taught me a lot in like the production process and about how you know, I always knew that it should be a dance concert in musicals, but like, just finding that story in every single song and in every single scene, mostly the songs when there's like heavy dance numbers, and finding that story in that, and not just making it go, all right, we're going to dance now, and here are the featured dancers, and they're doing little kicks and turns. It doesn't have to, like, yes, have all that fancy stuff, but it has to like have a purpose. And so
Yeah.
I think for me, coming from that background and then stepping into this role, like I found it really easy to step into this role because I think that's what I've done for so many years as a choreographer as well.
I think I found that, like, even in these productions that we do, the choreographer and the director, they have quite a strong link in terms of what needs to be presented on the stage. So, like, even though choreographer, yes, they need to teach the dance, but they also need to teach the kids to have character within that dance as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not so distant, I think, from an actual director role as a choreographer, especially when you're trying to tell a story through song as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it definitely, but for me, like as a choreographer, my most hardest numbers is like the movement choreography, like not just like the dance numbers. So if that kind of makes sense to you and people like that, it's quite hard to be as little as possible because coming from a dance background. And so this has been really nice to just focus on that. So
yeah. Hi, Brandon. I saw Brandon's just signed in there. Send him a little wave.
Hi, Brandon.
Okay. Cool. So, what have you found most rewarding about this project?
The kids. Always.
Exactly the same.
Kids. Yeah. I'm sure you're the same as well. The kids. I remember like one of the last rehearsals we had with them. They had a lot of gratitude for obviously us, but also for each other as well, because it is such a fast turnaround. Like we're literally presenting it on Thursday morning, and so they're pretty much, I think they all have like a lot of trust in both of us, and it's really nice that they trust us and we trust each other. And I think that's what the most rewarding part about it is, that like we're all pretty much complete strangers, like David and you and I know each other, but that we don't really know the kids at all. I've known of certain kids. I've watched I remember watching Luca in Kizzy Boots, but that was about it. I don't know any of the other kids. I know you teach a couple of them, but for me, like, getting to know these kids, working with them, obviously, like I'm a different, director for what they're used to and stuff like that. So I think just having that trust and honesty and that safe space, and it's been really rewarding in that aspect.
Yeah.
Are you very similar?
I think so, definitely. I think one of the things I was most conscious of when we were doing this is like taking that leadership sort of a role to manage everything that we were doing. But I wanted it to be for the kids that had done it last year, like the ones that had done the Big 1-0 and the Flat Stanley musical as well. I was really conscious of trying to make it so that it didn't seem so distant to what they had done there. So I was like checking in with Ollie and like, was that like, were you happy with how that rehearsal was? Is there anything that's not going the way you would have expected it to, or everything like that? I was constantly checking in with him, but no, he was very happy with the whole process the whole way through, which is great. But I think for me, finding like all of these, being able to provide this opportunity for all of the kids, I think was really important, especially since like most of us were all stuck in lockdown. We're not going out anywhere. So being able to give them something to do, but also something that they'll be able to take stuff from, move forward with, is really important. So I think, it's been good that we've been able to give them that little opportunity. how have you felt the whole process went? Ollie, thanks, Ollie. Good question. So,
Hi, Ollie. Ollie's our producer, by the way.
yeah. So I think
Talented.
the process has been very, very fast, and I think for both Becky and I, there were very late nights. Like some nights, so I was going to bed at 1 a.m. Just waiting, like reviewing videos. I think especially was the biggest one on.
Oh yeah, Friday night.
Friday night, yeah. So Becky
Yeah,
and
we're
I
on
got together
Zoom
to
for
watch
like 5
all of
hours. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think, but otherwise, I think with more time, I think this would have been a lot more easy on us. But I think we've managed okay. Like we maybe missed a couple of details when we were asking them to do stuff for us, like the recordings. We maybe
Yeah.
might have missed a couple of specifics in terms of
Yeah.
video and audio. But if we had the extra time, we possibly could have got that across a little bit better. But otherwise, I think it all ran really smoothly. Our rehearsal process worked. And I think it was really helpful. Like we had to call a couple of extra rehearsals just because we needed a bit more time. And just having everyone in lockdown really gave us that flexibility to say, hey, do you mind if we just run this extra rehearsal tomorrow morning? And yeah, all of the kids were really on board with that, which was so helpful.
Yeah.
But generally, I think it all went super smooth. And now we're just like in that sitting duck phase, Becky and I, and all the kids, obviously, just waiting for our editors now to pull it all together for us. So I'm waiting for audio from Tim Drummond. He's putting all our audio tracks together and making it all sound really nice. And we've got Steve Corey, is that his name?
Yeah, choreography. Carl.
Corey.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Steve, if you're watching this, sorry, he's probably not watching it. He's puts his phone on silent so he can focus.
Steve is doing the video editing for us. So yeah, Beck and I, we've done all that we really need to do for the production, and now we're just waiting for what they're putting together for us. So we're done. The kids are all done. I think the kids had the smallest part in a way in getting all of this together, but also the biggest part in the presentation of it. So yeah, it's kind of cool because with the rehearsal process, we maybe saw them three hours most days. And on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, that's 12 hours to see them all up for this rehearsal process. And then the rest of it has been like hours and hours upon hours of pulling all the stuff together. We had to get 110 videos we had to collect from them. And a few times we had to ask for revisions of those. And there were, I think it was 80 audio tracks that we needed them to record as well. So trying to get all that together and having it all like lined up in the right place, that was hard. And yeah, asking for these revisions. A few people had to do a couple of revisions just because we weren't quite clear with something the first time. And but yeah, we got there. We got the last video this morning, and so yeah, we're all done. We've finished our parts. Becky, I think, is still doing some like little vision boards for how she wants certain scenes to look that she's forwarding on to our video editor. But beyond that, there's not really much left for us to do.
Yeah. The whole process has been like for both of our first virtual musical and like just how it all runs. I think we did really well. Like we live and we learn, right?
Absolutely.
I think we did it best. So hopefully, that's an Ollie and Beth thing. Hopefully, we did well for you guys.
Yeah.
I know you guys are both watching. What's your favorite song from the musical? Ooh, I actually really like "Do Some."
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I quite like "Do Some." Like obviously I have individual music, like songs that I like. I like the ice cream song that Sabina sings. I really like Cole's song, which is the robot one.
Buttons.
Yeah, some of the kids, they're so great. Like they just interpret it so like really well. And I think that's another thing that, you know, we give them direction of like how to sing things or like, oh, you know, how to interpret the things, the scenes and the songs and everything like that. But they always came and presented like, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this with that, or I'm thinking about wearing this and blah, blah, blah. And like how it's all ended, like how it's all like been presented, like it's been great. So looking forward to showing you.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
Brandon's just added on to that as well. Why is that why is Do Some and I Give My One to Ice Cream and Buttons your favorite songs? Why are they your favorite?
So for me, Do Some, I guess it's quite poetic. and that's what I like. I'm a very emotionally deep person, so I like that poem aspect to it. So, and I just really like the way the kids have sung it as well, from the videos that I've seen, which you'll be able to see.
This Thursday.
On Thursday at 11 a.m. What else is there? What about you? What's your favorite song?
Yeah, my favorite songs. I had to think about this because I saw it on the kids' little profiles that they've been sharing as well. I'm like, oh, what's my favorite song? So my favorite ensemble song that everyone sings in is probably the finale. But I think the reason that's my favorite is because I've added some harmonies in there that weren't in this. They weren't in the score. And yeah, I really like the parts that I've arranged for them, and I think it sounds really good in the recording as well. So yeah, that's my favorite ensemble song, and obviously it kind of wraps up the story, so it's got that heartfelt sort of moment that we're at the end now, and we've made it, and this is...
They've learned something.
Yeah. In terms of solo songs, I think mine are exactly the same as yours. I love Buttons, but I also, like, I know Cole, who sings that song. I've worked with him many times now, and yeah, we've got that obvious past history, so I love working with him. I think he's very talented. And his song is really cool as well. He does it really well, and he's got a great interpretation, I think, of how that song goes. And I Give My Monster Ice Cream is another really, really clever song, but I think the reason I like that one as well is because of how Sabina has... That's Sabina's song, isn't it? Yes. How she incorporates different... I don't want to say too much about that one. I like how she's done it.
Yeah.
I think she's been really clever with how she's interpreted that song as well.
Yeah, and all the kids have. They've done a really good job. Yeah, they've done a really, really good job. And also lots of the poems as well, because like some of the kids don't sing any songs by themselves. They actually just do like poems by themselves, and so the way that they've done that, there's some really good actors in there. So
yeah, definitely. I think Elijah is probably one of the ones that will be one to look out for in the show. He's got a very clever little singing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's done a really good job.
I think there was another question there as well.
What?
What's your favorite show? So my favorite show is really easy because I am a huge Lion King fan. So I've watched both of the professional productions that came to Sydney about 5 years ago, and then 10 years before that. I saw both of those, and I think one of the reasons why that's one of my favorite is because I love the animal kingdom, and especially love the African animal kingdom, but also just the way that it's been interpreted for on stage is just like mind-blowing. It's so clever how they've done like all the different puppets and all that sort of stuff. Similar to how Olaf was done in Frozen. I'm like, oh yeah, I see how you've done that. You've kind of taken the same concept as Timon, where they've got an actor behind and doing all the hand sort of gestures. So yeah, I think, and obviously the music is it's something that I grew up with. I think the movie came out when I was 3 or 4 years old, so it's been something that I've grown up with my whole life. I haven't watched the live action. I watched about 10 minutes of that and just could not get into it. But yeah, the Lion King for me is definitely one of my top shows. How about you?
Yeah. I went and saw King Kong down in Melbourne about maybe 6 years ago.
Right.
And I always remember that. I remember when the King Kong robot came out on the stage, and like all of our like seats shook because it was so heavy and was so powerful. That was, an amazing musical. I wish that it stayed longer. And that was really beautiful. Obviously Lion King is a good musical, but two of my next favorites, well, actually they're all kind of like, they're all lined up together. I really love Once musical. Such a great musical. I could like cry all about it. It's so great. And Come From Away is a really good musical. I went and saw that last year, just before COVID hit. So it's coming to Sydney, so hopefully they make it, because you guys are great.
They did. They've been performing here already.
And then they had to stop, didn't they?
Yeah.
Hopefully, but if you're going to go and see it, go and see it. It's so good. And another one is of course, Hairspray. I love Hairspray. Love Hairspray. I'll do that all the time.
Good
yeah,
choice.
they're my favorite musicals.
Awesome.
But, yeah.
All right. We might do a couple more questions, and then we might just start thinking about wrapping it up. So I've still got a fair few for you, but I might pick out the good ones. Okay. Can you talk about the editing process? So I know we kind of briefly touched on it, but do you want to talk a little bit more about the extent of the editing?
Yeah. So when it comes to the editing, so for me, I am pretty much treating this like a film project because it's virtual. So I read the script with the main ensemble numbers. There's going to be a moderator called Video Wall, where like I'm sure if you've watched a virtual choir performance, which happened like every single week last year during COVID, just Google Australian Youth Choir or Australian Choir, the Qantas ads, they had virtual, that kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of that in the musical. And so what I did, actually, I'll show you.
Sorry.
So what I sent to Stephen is, so this is like, say it's like scene 5, and this is how I want like the video wall to be. So it's all spaced out, and it's kind of like how I choreograph as well, which is funny. So it's all got like little different squares. Just ignore the fact they're all different, but that is kind of like how that's a storyboard and what I send to the editor. And so pretty much through my editing notes, I labeled all the editing notes. I labeled like the vibe that I wanted, which actors on stage, where they're going off, what like, if it's a 1 shot, if it's a 4 shot, like 4 shot meaning like 4 boxes on the stage, on the screen. And for the big ensemble numbers, I created all these storyboard video walls, and so I sent that to Stephen, and he really appreciated that, because sometimes with video walls, like, you know, you can just put like people everywhere, but it's really nice, especially in a scene called Rodney, where there's 2 actors that are reacting to the middle person, and so I put them specifically beside the lead, and then everybody else is like speaking to the audience, but they're actually speaking to the main lead. So I've designed it that like it's kind of like a little dance show, but they're in little boxes. And so it's been really fun. So I've pretty much treated this musical like it's a film project, and I've made all the notes. I've drawn my badly drawn boxes, because I'm not an artist of any sort. And had many conversations, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been really different and really fun, and this is when I've really had the big creative vision of what it actually is going to look like. So I've really enjoyed that part, because me, as being a film editor, like I know the language of what to say to an editor, of what I want. Because last year I did do a virtual choir video where I was the main editor on it. And so I know exactly how much work goes into video walls. It takes hours to generate, and also hours to render. So I do appreciate the editor so much, because it is a very long process. So we got someone on board who he got recommended to me, and I trusted that source. So he's been amazing so far and very communicative. So because a lot of editors like to get caught up in their little, like, you know, shelter, and, you know, just kind of focus on the work. So he's been communicating a lot. So it's been really great. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think in terms of audio, it's kind of been very similar. So I'll show you a little bit, because it's not, I don't think the audio is quite as exciting, but it's at least very colourful.
Yeah, nice.
all of these little tracks here are each of the different cast members. So we've got actor A, B, C, D, going all the way down through to N. And so I put all of their audio files that they sent us together. And then I sent it over to Tim, who is editing it all properly. And so what he's doing, so all I've done really is I've got the recordings and I've put them in line with the background music that they're singing along to. And then I've sent that file over to Tim. And what Tim's doing is he's making sure that they all kind of sound like they're in the same space, whereas with the recordings they sent, there's slight differences where some might sound like they're further away, or some might sound like they're singing in a bathroom, or like they've got some different acoustics sort of thing. So what Tim's been doing is trying to really refine all that so it kind of sounds like they're in the same space. And he's also adjusting the levels as well. So when I put it all together, obviously when there's only one person singing at a time, it's quite faint and distant, whereas when all 14 of them are singing at the same time, it's like this wall of sound that comes at you. So yeah, that's kind of this process that he's going through. And then just little slight touch-ups after that, just to give it a bit of reverb and yeah, that sort of thing that he's really been doing for us. So yeah, it's hours and hours and hours of work that he's doing us for there. And yeah, it's almost surely more amount of time than I've been putting them together. So
yeah.
Appreciate you so much, and I'm very thankful for your help with this. A couple of questions in the comments there. Thank you, Corinne. It's been so much fun.
Thanks,
Kobe wants to know, what was I in The Wizard of Oz and was I a scarecrow? I was the music director, so I wasn't in the cast. I was teaching the whole cast how to sing their songs. Are we in lockdown? Yes, we are in lockdown until Friday. And we are hoping to all heavens that it is only until Friday, because there are a lot of shows still running on reopening
rehearsals and
on
stuff.
the weekend. So I'll ask you one more question, Becky, and then we might wrap it up with that. So if you could start again with this production, what would you have done differently?
A few things. I guess the way they film their project, so their scenes, I would probably get them to film, you know, certain things together or certain things again. You know, because when we've come to the editing process, there's been a few scenes that I'm like, oh, I wish that they would have done this, but that was me, like that was a me thing, so I put that onto me. I think when you're part of the production team, if someone someone in the cast, no matter if you've told them a billion times, it's your fault, you know, and that's all right, we take that, and that's okay. Yeah, so I probably, the way that I get them to film things differently. Yeah, look, I think that, yeah, that would probably be the main one, the filming, because I feel like a lot of my rehearsals, we were all pretty proactive with it all. So yeah, I definitely I feel very confident about the performances in general, like the character performances. So I definitely feel confident in that. And the kids have really taken a lot of my direction and really thought about their characters throughout everything. So and we sometimes went overtime most of the time. So and they were keen on that, and hope the parents were okay with that as well. Yeah, no, I feel pretty confident with that. But yeah, mainly the filming. I think I would have drilled more of the filming stuff. That would have been the best. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think we've been really lucky. To add on to yours, I think what we've been really lucky with is these kids are all they're all professionals, and like they know. They're able to adapt with exactly what we ask almost immediately, just because they've done this before and they know kind of what we're wanting to see from them, and they've all been able to adapt really easily to that. So I think that's been most helpful. Whereas I think if we were working with maybe first timers who had never done a musical before, I think it would have been a bit more of a challenge with them, because we would have been asking for more of them. But yeah, for me, I think so on. Was it Tuesday night or Wednesday night that we started asking for audio recordings?
Wednesday, I think it was, because Tuesday was our first rehearsal.
Yeah, Tuesday we started asking for some audio recordings, and Thursday we asked for the rest of. Wednesday then we asked for the rest of them. What I would have done differently with that is I got 80 separate emails for all of the
oh yeah, that's right.
audio files. And a huge genius moment that I had for the videos was that they could send it to us in a Dropbox folder or a Google Drive folder all at once.
Just simple things like that.
Exactly. So we got 14 emails from each of the 14 castmates instead of 110 emails for each individual video that we were asking for. So yes, after the Wednesday rehearsal, when my emails were flooded with all these different audio tracks, I realized I should not have done that. So yes, that's what I would have changed about this process. Kobe, can we chat after the Instagram live, David? Yes, sure. You can send me a message. My my Instagram is Treble Maker on Keys, Treble, Maker, Maker on Keys, Keys. So you can go and find me there and send me a message if you want. So Becky, what's next for you?
After this, Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday. I've got a couple of gigs coming up. Let's hope. I work for a company called Dirty Feet, so I'll be doing that. And that's an inclusive dance workshop, which I love that company. It's really great. So if you guys are listening, there's actually going to be closed caption performances. There's going to be one on Thursday at 3 p.m. and then Friday at 7 p.m. But we'll link you up. Beth's going to be all on top of that. But that's going to be an option for people that require that. So that's going to be booked in, and then you can obviously view it and then take out the captions if you don't want it either. So I'll be doing that, and then Freaky Friday, and hopefully that goes ahead. It will go ahead, but it may be a little bit delayed. So I'm actually got a rehearsal tonight on Zoom, so I'll be doing that later tonight. Yes. What about you?
I've got a few things going on at the moment. So this coming weekend, I'm doing auditions for 2 shows. I'm doing auditions for Moana, the musical, Moana Junior. So that's going to be with my company, Fantasia Showstoppers. And I'm also doing a production of 13, the musical, with the North Sydney Kids Theatre Company. So yeah, that's auditions this weekend for both of those, and we are all hoping like crazy that this lockdown does lift. For Fantasia, we do have a backup plan though, if we do go into an extended lockdown, but we're kind of hoping that doesn't happen.
Yes.
So yeah, I've got those 2 shows going. I'm also assistant music directing Mamma Mia with Willoughby Theatre Company, along with ex-partner Matt. And I am also playing for a show called Heathers, the musical. So that's in September. Yeah, I've got lots of stuff. But yeah, a lot of it's kind of riding on whether this lockdown gets extended or not. So if the lockdown does get extended, I think a lot of those are kind of going to be a bit stuffed. So fingers crossed. If you can all keep your fingers crossed for us, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get out of this.
Yeah, and for all those people that had their musicals delayed, we feel you. We have your back. Hey, I know it's Hairspray at Campbelltown and Adams especially, Adams family, at SYMT, they're pretty much delayed until next year. So we really feel for you, and we're all going to come and support no matter what. We've gone through lockdown. We're all going to open up and go and see each other's stuff. So don't worry. You'll eventually get on stage, I promise.
Yeah.
Or you'll get on screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe just do it on the screen.
Yeah. Do you guys watch Sunrise in the morning? I usually sleep in, so I don't usually get to see any of those morning shows, unfortunately. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well,
where can people find you on social medias, Becky? Aside from here, obviously, we've got Becky as her Instagram.
Yeah,
find you elsewhere.
Yeah, Becky with 5 Ys and X. And then I've also got another account for my performing stuff, and that's Feed Your Creative Spirit. That's just Feed Your Creative Spirit. And so that's got like all my stilt walking and dancing and choreography and, you know, film stuff and everything like that. So you can find me on that. What about you?
Yeah, my personal account is Treble Maker on Keys, which you can, which I mentioned before, and my theatre company, Fantasia Showstoppers, also has an Instagram account which you can go and follow over there. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, Fantasia Showstoppers. And you can also find me on Facebook if you want to connect with me there. I'm David Catterall, which is on my Treble Maker on Keys name. You can find that on my Instagram profile. And I also have a YouTube account which is called Musical Me. So if you want to go and check out some of the videos that I've done piano recordings and I've done flute recordings, and I've also got a show reel that I did from when I played Les Miserables with a notable theatre company. So you can find that on YouTube by searching Musical Me and typing in my name next to it as well. But otherwise, that's really all we're going to fit in for today. So thank you for joining me on this live, Becky, and thank you to all of the people that joined us. Is that Wizard of Oz? Oh, actually, yes. So I've got, you might be able to see, this one, the one with the kids in it, is from my Fantasia Showstoppers company in the last production that we just did. It was a concert that we did with Disney theme. And then next to that is Wizard of Oz, so the two on top of each other there. One of them's from the cast, and one of them's it's probably a bit hard to see with the lighting. One of them's a orchestra photo that I got with the orchestra that played for that production. And then next to that is the cast of Beauty and the Beast when I did that in 2017. So yes, thank you for joining us, everyone, and enjoy the rest of this week's lives that come through and the Instagram takeovers. The kids have been really cool with all of their little videos and takeovers that they've been doing, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. If you want to grab tickets, you can click on our link in the bio, Cactus Musical, and there are tickets for Thursday and Friday this coming week, and we are hoping like crazy that all our editing and everything like that will be done before then, so
it will be.
Yes. So yes, go check that out, grab your tickets, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you later.
Bye everybody.